What's the worst piece of financial advice somebody has given you? By Ask Reddit.
When my mom said that she will hold my money for me as a kid.
My grandfather was pretty wealthy and gave us $50 to $100 each birthday. My mom kept it safe for us. I'm pretty sure she used it at least once to pay the light bill when the power got shut off, so at least it went to good use. Never saw a dime of it myself.
At least you technically paid the power bill then.
It's illegal to issue credit to a minor. She's responsible for the loans. Talk to someone about this. Just get it at Rent a Center.
I had a co-worker that got pretty much everything there. It's only $20/week, and they'll replace it if it breaks $20/week for how long? Oh cool, so you're paying more than double for it? Got it.
I still remember calling up a rent-a-center to see if it was remotely worthwhile to rent a computer of a pair of months way back in the 90s/early 2000s. It was a couple hundred a month, which was not even remotely worthwhile even my preteen mind.
So when I was 24, I was financially struggling. I had a job that worked me a lot of hours, but only paid me $10 an hour. My parents talked me into buying a brand new 2004 four-door Honda Civic. The pre-interest price tag on it was about $25,000. A few weeks after getting it, my hours got regulated and it took one entire paycheck to make the monthly note on it. I could not afford the insurance on it. I very quickly realized my parents were bad at money.
I think that's one of the hard things to swallow when it comes to growing up. Your parents might be putty with money. I ignored a lot of my parents' financial advice and I'm so glad I did. They both made decent money, but borrowed against their house, bought cars they didn't need, and paid for other ridiculous things. They basically live paycheck to paycheck.
Being in my early teens and opening the front door to a bailiff/high court enforcer is definitely a low point in my childhood, but damn did it give me a massive preemptive sign to never listen to mom's financial advice. It's hard and sucks, but the sooner someone comes to terms with a parent who's awful at financial stuff, the better their own finances will be.
My aunt took me to a car dealership when I was looking to buy my own first car. I was looking at the clunkers I could afford, but she said I should be looking at the new cars. She said, the total price doesn't matter because you make monthly payments. I suddenly understood too well why she had always been so financially unstable.
I had a car dealer say this to me once when I asked the price on a 4 to 5 year old car. The actual price doesn't matter, it's the monthly payment that you really need to know. Haha, I'm good mate, but cheers anyway. I walked away wondering how does he possibly sell any cars that way. But after reading this sub, maybe I'm wrong.
I know a shocking number of people who are spending only 25 to 40% of their take-home pay servicing a finance deal on a shiny car. And when that expires, they'll get a new one.
My father would tell me to max my credit card on a new car, and if they asked for payments just say FM, what are they going to do? My father is several levels of debt hell deep that he's trying to get out of now, but he's at least trying.
What are they going to do, send me to jail?
But like what really happens?
If you don't pay your credit card bill, expect to pay late fees, receive increased interest rates and incur damages to your credit score. If you continue to miss payments, your card can be frozen, your debt could be sold to a collection agency and the collector of your debt could sue you and have your wages garnished. Basically they take payments from your wages. It's what happens if you don't have a job.
At that point the car you bought is probably also your house.
I declare bankruptcy.
My Phil, when I mention our retirement plan, I never contribute to my retirement account. Money now is always better than money later. I needed to have a conversation with my husband how we would not be supporting his mom and dad and their insane spending when they have no retirement plan and make huge financial mistakes on a weekly basis. Good news is they both make good money.
Sounds like someone who was taught IOR once and has misapplied it ever since.
I wish it was that simple. I love my in-laws, but they are just doing the best they can with what they have. They had their first child at 15, my husband at 17, another child that passed away from AD overdose, and their youngest is now 19. They are constantly in survival mode and now have custody of their 3 oldest grandkids. They have a slew of health issues and honestly can't see the future more than a month out, so planning for retirement doesn't cross their minds. Money slips out of their hands as fast as they earn it, but they do mean well.
Yeah, even if they've recently robbed you, you should still lend them the $500 they need to move to another city. They're your family after all. Dad. I don't even know how Mom married your dumb ass.
This sounds like my mom. You should forgive him, he's your brother and family is important. Was I important enough the multiple times he has stolen my debit or credit card, or when he stole my identity and got payday loans online? The forgiveness she was referring to in my example.
Spend it quickly or it'll get stolen. Coming from someone with a history of losing and blowing their money.
Or not even stolen. Folks who've never had enough to get by comfortably have a little imp on their shoulder telling them to spend it now or it'll just go to next month's rent and you won't get to enjoy anything nice with this cash.
I knew a guy who had a great job but never saved any money. One day he was randomly telling me how he saved up $10K in his savings account and accidentally told his mom. That after that his mom scolded him on why he was doing nothing with that money and he needs to go out and spend it. He said he realized he was being stupid, his words, and he closed that account and spent it immediately. I asked if that sounded like a bad plan. Like what if an event came up where he needed cash for a rainy day or something, and he said something along the lines of that he can always get a job and make money, but while he makes money he should enjoy it. Wasn't sure what to say to him from there, but was impressed at not only the mindset but also how it seemed to be taught to him by his parents not to ever save money.
Oh my god, my in-laws convinced my wife to give them money after they found out we had like $2K in savings because it's just sitting there and you're not using it.
Well, hopefully that expensive lesson proved to be a valuable experience for your wife.
My mom's saying is spend it before it's gone.
A relative tried to recruit me into Amway. He wound up stuck with a garage full of their products.
My mom joined and ended up having to buy their junk continuously. They also promised to pay her, she never saw a dime from them.
That an emergency fund wasn't necessary when you can always get a payday loan or use your credit card. He wasn't joking.
Somebody needs to book this man's act. He knows how to generate interest.
My cousin's car broke down and he didn't have enough savings to get it fixed. He took out a $600 payday loan. He's still paying it off. Almost 2 years later. How this poo is still legal baffles the F out of me.
$1,000 on a credit card at 19.99% will take 26 years to pay off if you only pay the minimum payment.
They are illegal in 12 states, but that is 38 states too few, in my opinion.
Lots of the payday loan places are incorporated on Native American reservations. Even if all 50 states and the feds made it illegal, there would be several hundred places they could have a mailing address for their main office. Back in the 60s/70s, the mob was the only option for quick cash, and they actually charged quite a bit less interest than modern payday loan rates.
I'm sure the prospect of having your entire family brutally murdered by the mafia helped secure the debt a bit better than a payday loan lender can, though.
According to the episode of the podcast Behind the Bastards, which is my source for all this, they mostly stuck to slicing your finger with a razor. You can still work, but it will hurt like hell, and every time you use your hand, you are reminded of your debt.
One of my uncles once told me that I never really had to pay my phone bill. He suggested that I simply jump to another carrier and let the first company cut you off. His life has turned out exactly as you'd imagine.
I used to know a guy whose family had always told him while he was growing up that the earth was free. He was getting his mail sent to his family home for years, as an adult. One day he needs to buy a car, and guess what? His credit is trashed. Family threw away his medical bills the same as they did theirs. The worst part is now I know the biggest hospital in our area has a very liberal charity program. IRC, you can get 100% of your bill dropped if you are uninsured and make under $32K. Basically this whole guy's family would qualify for that program if they just did a little bit of paperwork rather than just throw away bills.
My now girlfriend told me about that when I was in with a broken pelvis and they forgave my whole $77K stay because I worked at the Y and made like $9 an hour. I would have never won otherwise.
What happened?
Don't know. He stopped calling.
Bah ha ha, you're more right than you know. Dude declared bankruptcy, got bailed out by my grandparents, went broke again, then people cut him off when he conned a few family members and friends into some kind of financial scheme that smelled fishy from the next province. Last I heard he was mooching off some old lady in a trailer park in Florida.
These stories always end in a trailer park in Florida.
It's the origin story of Floridaman.
I don't know how things are in other countries, but I'm in Canada, and my phone bill payment history is part of my credit report.
I think in the US it's the same way.
My wife had a friend whose family would do this with their home phone. They'd just start it under a new name. Things were apparently more lax on the 90s.
Hopefully not like my mom and use the names and social of her children, ruining our credit scores before we even reach 16.
My best friend found out in our late teens she had a house rented in her name.
This gives me anxiety. I got $90 and my 11-year-old son told me I should buy $90 worth of kazoos. No real plan past that.
Probably among the better pieces of advice on this thread.
Take out a 401k loan to build a pool. It will raise the value of your house.
At least you wind up with a wicked effing pool, lol.
Hold on to those French francs, they will be worth a lot someday. I'm not holding my breath.
Well, they probably will be eventually. In about 1,000 years they may sell for something good at auction if well preserved. You'll be quids in. Only if well preserved and rare. If a bunch of people keep a lot of them well preserved, no one will care about them.
I totally misread this and spent the past 60 seconds figuring out how French fries could conceivably be a good investment.